Good, whatever time you're watching this video from, my name is Marion Ndung'u. Karibu sana to another video. If it is your very first time, karibu sana. Don't forget to subscribe. If you are a returning subscriber, thank you so much for the love. I am glad that we are here. So today we are doing part 2 of the principles that will make your marriage work. I hope the first principles were helpful. And if you have other principles that maybe are working for you in your marriage, kindly put them on our comment section so that people can learn more and just make their marriages work. Let's get straight into the video. So I hope the 4 principles helped your marriage, and if you have not been able to apply them, kindly go through them. If you have not seen, also go and check them out. I'm sure they will be of help. So today we are discussing the remaining 3 principles because I have 7 of them, and today we are talking about solve your solvable problems. What I learned about marriages is that there are things you will never agree upon. So when it is issues about conflict, not every conflict can be solved. Some you need to just find a way of working through them, but it is not necessarily finding a solution. So what this principle number 5 is about just finding solutions for the ones that can be solved. Okay, so with the ones that can be solved, we just use the following criteria, maybe so that it can be easier for you to solve your solvable problems. Number 1, start up with a very soft start up softly. Okay, when you're approaching someone concerning a particular issue that you have, don't start up too harshly, because of course, as we know, it's a conversation, and because it's actually a confrontation, because you're trying to address an issue, if you start on a very high note, it means that of course the conversation and the conflict will escalate. So at the end of the day, you might not find yourselves solving the problem, but instead you will have escalated the issue, and maybe whatever you are trying to address will now become something that will not be addressed. So of course, because it is a solvable problem, it means that it has a solution. But for it to get to that place where you solve it, you need to start up in a low note so that it is so easy for you guys to talk. Okay, so that is the first thing that you need to do even as you do your conflict resolution. So learn to make and receive repair attempts even in your conversation. Remember, we have started on a low note. So in case your partner does not really follow the note and you feel like this conversation is getting out of hand, you can use repair attempts. Remember, we said that if you know your spouse, it is so easy for you to change the topic. So repair attempts, basically, it's not changing the topic, but it's just stopping that particular conversation. You can use repair attempts. It doesn't necessarily mean you need to tickle someone. It can also be just telling them, babe, I think this conversation is getting out of hand. Let's take a pause and we will talk about this when we both calm down. So that can also be a repair attempt, because of course you have worked on the situation and it has not gone out of proportion. So when you learn how to make them, it is easy. When you learn to receive them, because of course for repair attempts to work, both of you need to use them. Okay, so when someone else gives them to you, you need to receive them. When the other person makes them, you need to receive them. Don't tell them no until you started the conversation and now you're making repair attempts. No, let's finish this. You see, when you notice this person has given you repair attempts, it means that now this conversation will not end well, so let's just take a pause. Receive it. Okay, don't just be the one always making them and you want them to be received, but when it is your turn to receive, you're not receiving them, because it will not work. Okay. The third thing is to soothe yourself to each other. How? Remember, we are trying to solve problems. So soothing each other is basically trying to find a way to make the conversation or the confrontation or the conflict that you guys are discussing a bit easier for you to maneuver. Number 4 is also compromise. Learn to compromise even when the solution, for example, I noticed that there is a problem in my marriage concerning how my husband does not flush the toilet. okay? And I don't mean that he doesn't, but he doesn't, okay? And I have been trying to address the issue and it's not working. So right now I know it's a problem we can solve, so I'm trying to talk to him so that we can work on it. And I try and tell him, babe, you know, there's this and this and this. But even if I'm the one who started the conversation, doesn't mean that I am the one who has the final answer, okay? So that is where compromise comes in, because he might offer a solution that is better than what I would have offered even for that particular conversation, and it makes it easier. So I need to compromise my initial idea so that I can merge mine with his, so that we can have a workable relationship. Remember, we said that for this relationship to work, we need to respect each other's decision and also honor each other, because when you listen and you compromise, it shows this person that you actually honor and respect them, and it will help your relationship. The fifth one is to tolerate each other's faults. You see, in every relationship, every other person will have their own faults. It doesn't mean that because I have my faults, I am not a good person, or I am not a good spouse, or I am not what I hear people say, the Proverbs 31 woman, or the man is not the mighty man of valor. You know, it's just that I have faults, but for the marriage to work, you also need to overlook. And what this pointer says is not everything should be an issue, okay? There are things that as much as you don't agree with them, we go back to the fourth nini where we're saying compromise, because there are not things that you should be discussing. Why should you be discussing faults like he doesn't speak well, or he snores, especially if he snores? It's not his fault that he snores. So it's up to you to compromise and work on that fault, but it cannot be something that you will have an issue about, as much as it might irritate you when you sleep. You can decide to go earlier to bed than him, or you buy earplugs while you sleep, you know, because those are things that this person, hata akijaribu, he cannot change, because maybe he has an issue with his system. So you see, or it's something chronic and you cannot help it, and he cannot even work on it, you know. Yeah, he has maybe tried whatever you have offered him as solutions of sleeping on his side, of sleeping better using a pillow, you get. Yeah, so you need to tolerate some faults, okay? The principle number 6 is overcome gridlock. What is gridlock? I looked at the definition. It says it's stoppage. Let me check again so that I read for you the definitions that I got about gridlock, so that you guys can understand what I mean by gridlock before we even go to the point of solving them. So gridlock in automotive engineering, it's a point in a dispute at which no agreement can be reached. It's also in a major traffic jam in which all vehicle movement comes to a stop because key intersections are blocked by traffic. Another definition is a complete stoppage of normal activity. And another definition is to cause or undergo a gridlock. I don't understand how that is a definition, but oh well. So let's talk about a point in a dispute at which no agreement can be reached. So that is what actually my particular discussion is about, because we are talking about, just 1 minute. 1 minute. We are talking about overcoming gridlock. So overcoming means we are overcoming that point where a dispute cannot find a solution. So what you need to do is first you navigate your way out of the gridlock, so that first you understand what is the root cause of this gridlock. Okay, every time we try to have a conversation, this guy, or we try to do 1, 2, 3, this guy always finds a way of making it's like stoppage. We cannot move, we cannot do anything because there's an enemy. So you need to find what is the root cause, okay? And after you find the root cause of this, whether the issue is momentous, like which of course things like religion, like things like which religion to pass to your children, because maybe the both of you have different religions, like which way to fold dinner napkins, such things. They're small, but they can cause gridlock. So gridlock is a sign that you have dreams of your life that aren't being addressed or respected by each other. Okay, that like someone who has a religion, for example, because sana where I see conflict in terms of religion is where a Muslim and a Christian are married. So in my dreams, I knew that my children will be Christians, or I knew my children will be Islam. And then here comes my spouse and he wants the opposite. So of course it means that my dreams are not being respected, and that will cause an issue. So some of the common issues that cause gridlock, especially in a marriage, I will read a couple of them that I have written, because I know these are things that to you might be trivial. To someone else, they're very dire and very deep, and they need to be addressed. So like a sense of freedom. Maybe when you wanted to get married, you were getting married because you wanted some freedom, and you're not getting that. So of course, gridlock. So every time you are talking about going out with your girlfriends, going out with your boyfriends, and there's always an issue. Okay, the sense of peace, unity with nature. You want to go out, you want to explore and know who you are, but that is not being addressed in your marriage. You want adventure. There is a spiritual journey that you wanted to take, but the spouse you're with does not actually value that, or is not supportive in that manner. Becoming all that you can be as a person, and that is not also being met. Having a sense of power, especially in a relationship where the man is very domineering and he wants everything to be done his way. So of course you will feel not lacking that sense of power, or you find a woman that is very headstrong and you feel like as a man, this woman is not respecting me. So of course that is also an issue that will bring a gridlock in your marriage. And of course, as you guys are having confrontations, it will be so hard for you guys to solve and work through it. So exploiting a creative side of self. So you are a very creative person, and your spouse is like, you're wasting your time. So you come up with ideas, you check DIYs on YouTube, how you want your house to look, and you're trying, and you buy paint, and maybe you're a colorful person, you want to do different colors in the walls, and your spouse is like, really, you're just making the house look a mess, you're wasting money and such things. So of course those are things that are an issue. Getting over your past hurts, because sometimes when you're getting into a marriage and you have not really healed, you carry that baggage to your marriage. And maybe when you see a red flag of something that happened in your previous, and your married partner is doing it, you start seeing the end result as the same as your past, and maybe that's not the case. So of course it will give you a gridlock. When you guys are having conversations, unaanza kuona, God, this is going the same way it went before. So exploring an old part of yourself that you have lost, getting over personal hang-ups, having a sense of order, and maybe the person you're with is not just like that, they're just very disorderly. Being able to be productive, having time for you to be what you want to be, being able to truly relax, and maybe you can't because of course you have children, and you can't juggle in between work, marriage, responsibilities. So of course it's something that will be an issue for you. Getting your priorities in order, because maybe you're a first-time mom, and maybe as a first-time mom you got twins or triplets. Even one baby sometimes can be a handful, and you don't know how to actually prioritize everything. Sometimes maybe you're too focused on the baby, you forget the husband has issues because you've forgotten them. Maybe you're too focused on the house, and maybe you're too focused on the children, such things. So getting your priorities in order might be an issue. And then maybe the free time you have, you want to focus on work, and you forget, unajua kuna mtu umeacha hanging somewhere, Yeah, so that is also something that you need to work on. And being able to compete and win, and sometimes it's very difficult when you don't find that. There's atonement, quietness, you want to travel, and maybe there's no money or actually time, or you're wondering, now if I decide to go, I have to carry children, or I have to find someone to stay with them, I need to get money, I need So you want to, but you can't because of responsibilities. So again, you're just there, and it's difficult for you. So building something important, like maybe you want to I don't know, but yeah, you want to build something important and you feel like I'm not getting the support I need from this person. It's an issue. Okay, so ending a chapter of your life and saying goodbye to something. Yeah, so some of these things actually make you create that gridlock, meaning when it gets to that particular area, the things I have mentioned, and you're having a conversation about it, you always find a way, like, you know what, Apana, this is too much, you're against me, you know, like maybe for example, for the first time moms, you're there, the man is complaining, you're not giving him time, and you're like, you're the bigger person. I need to focus on the smaller person, which is a child, because they don't know how to do nothing on their own. But at the same time, you need to understand that this man was in this marriage and will remain with you even after the child grows up and leaves. Yeah, so they need their time and they need you to give them their attention. So of course, yeah, so those are things that we really need to work on. So principle number 7 is create shared meaning. And create shared meaning is this: have you ever been in, or have you gone, okay, fine, well, let me use my example. I have been single and I went out with people that have been dating for like 3-4 years, and they have inside jokes. When someone says they use a person's voice, but they're referring to a joke, and you're there, you're like, okay, I missed the joke. This one is laughing, this one is speaking of that joke, and you're there, you're left wondering, am I the one that is not loading, or what is going on? It's just because these guys have shared, you know, they have shared meaning. They have experiences that they have shared, so they're talking about something that honestly you cannot relate. And when one of them tries to explain to you so that you can get in on the joke becomes dry for you, and you're like, you're laughing, but you're still not getting. But if you are in their experience, you would have noticed. Okay, so having shared meanings and creating things like goals together, like in the next 5 years we want to have done this, we want to have done this, having dreams together, and you're dreaming of the things that you want to achieve. Dreams and goals are different because of course you're just dreaming big, and you're dreaming with your spouse, and you're dreaming with your family, and you're having that shared memory. It is very important because it helps the bond, and also because you have shared goals. Like, I know me and my person are working towards building a house in the next 5 years, so you're invested. So while you're there, you don't feel like you're wasting your time. So of course it makes things interesting, because at the end of the day you're working towards a goal. Okay, so in shared meanings, of course, you can also create family rituals where you decide every other weekend we will be doing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or when the kids come, we will be taking them out once a month for them to have fun and all those things. And these things actually make your marriage interesting, and they make your marriage work. Okay, so those are some of the principles that will make your marriage work, and I'm sure that indeed your marriage will go to another level if you use some of these things. And I know there are so many principles that people have adopted and are working with. Please share with us what is making your marriage work. What are those principles that you can share with other people, so that we can make their marriages as interesting as yours is, and so that we can overcome some of these things that we call challenges in our particular marriage. Thank you so much for staying tuned. My name is Marion Ndung'u. See you on the next vlog.